It's 11 p.m. Your exam is at 8 a.m. and you haven't studied a single page. But here's the thing, you're not panicking yet. You're actually kind of excited. If you've ever felt that weird rush when you're cramming the night before a test, you're not broken. Your brain is literally getting high off the stress. And that's the problem. Because while cramming feels productive, neuroscience shows it's one of the worst things you can do for actual memory retention. I used to be a chronic crammer, straight A's in high school, but I couldn't remember a single thing I learned a week after the test. Then I studied the actual psychology behind why we do this, and it changed everything. In this video, you're gonna learn why your brain is wired to cram, what's actually happening to your memory when you do, and the only 3 techniques that actually work when you've got no time left. But first, we need to talk about what's really going on in your head at 2 a.m. Here's the dark truth. Your brain loves deadlines. When you're up against the clock, your brain floods with dopamine and adrenaline. It's the same chemical cocktail you get from extreme sports or gambling. You feel focused. You feel alive. You feel like you're finally in the zone. But here's what nobody tells you. That's not focus. That's panic disguised as productivity. Dr. Tim Pickle, a procrastination researcher at Carleton University, calls this the relief of starting. Your brain isn't rewarding you for learning. It's rewarding you for finally reducing the anxiety of not having started. And this is where it gets twisted. Because once your brain learns that cramming gives you that dopamine hit, it starts craving it. You become addicted to the panic. That's why even when you plan to start early, you don't. But dopamine isn't even the real problem. There's something else happening in your brain during those late-night study sessions that's quietly destroying your memory. And most students have no idea. Let me paint a picture. It's 1 a.m. You're on your 3rd energy drink. Your notes are spread everywhere. And you're reading the same paragraph for the 5th time. But nothing's sticking. That's cortisol. When you cram under stress, your brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone, and cortisol actively blocks the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for forming long-term memories. Translation, you're studying, but your brain literally can't save the information. A study from UCLA found that students who crammed the night before performed 15% worse on average than students who studied the same material across multiple days, even when they studied for the same total hours. So here's the brutal truth. Every hour you spend cramming is worth about 30 minutes of normal studying. You're working twice as hard to remember half as much. And if you've ever walked out of a test thinking, I knew this last night, now you know why. Look, I'm not here to shame you. I've been there. We've all been there. The school system trains us to cram by putting all the pressure on one test date. So your brain adapts. It learns to survive on adrenaline and last-minute panic. But if you want to actually remember what you're learning, or just get through tomorrow without a mental breakdown, you need a different approach. And no, I'm not going to tell you to start earlier next time, because that's useless advice when you're already out of time. Here are the only 3 techniques that science says actually work when you're cramming. Technique number 1, active recall under pressure. Don't reread, don't highlight, don't make pretty notes. Close the book and try to write down everything you remember. Then check what you missed. This is called active recall, and it's the fastest way to move information from short-term to long-term memory. A study from Washington University showed that students who used active recall retained 50% more information than students who just reread their notes. Even if you only have 2 hours, spend 1 hour testing yourself, not reviewing. Your brain can't focus under stress for more than 25 to 30 minutes. After that, cortisol starts winning. So here's the hack. Every 30 minutes, do something that drops your cortisol fast. Not scrolling TikTok, not texting. I'm talking about 10 push-ups, cold water on your face, or 60 seconds of deep breathing. This isn't a break. It's a biological reset, and it can double your retention in the same amount of time. If it's past midnight and you still have hours of material left, here's what you need to hear. Sleep is not optional. Your brain consolidates memory during REM sleep. If you stay up all night cramming, you might recognize the material during the test, but you won't be able to actually think with it. A Harvard study found that students who slept at least 6 hours before a test outperformed students who pulled all-nighters, even when you all-nighters studied more. Cut your losses. Sleep. Wake up early if you have to, but do not skip sleep. Look, I know this sounds impossible when you're staring at a textbook you haven't opened all semester, but cramming isn't a study strategy. It's a survival mode, and your brain deserves better than running on fumes and fear every time there's a test. So let's recap. 1. Your brain loves cramming because it's addicted to the dopamine rush of panic, not because it's actually learning. 2. Cortisol from stress blocks your memory, which means cramming is literally half as effective as normal studying. And 3. If you're out of time, use active recall, reset your brain every 30 minutes, and prioritize sleep over extra study hours. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. You're just stuck in a cycle your brain learned to survive in. But now you know what's actually happening. And that means you can start breaking the pattern, one test at a time. Tonight, try one of these techniques, just one, and see how it feels to study without the panic. And if you want to go even deeper on focus and actually retaining what you study, I made a whole video on how to get your focus back in 30 seconds using micro techniques that actually work. It's the perfect follow-up to this, so don't skip it. Thanks for watching. Now, go crush that test the smart way.